はい、おはようございます。ここから司会私、天行でお送りいたします。ここから2作、ソウルリーパーシリーズ1、2、2連続、リマスター版かな。そちら2作連続でお送りいたします。まず1つ目、1ですね、オールボスイズですね。最初オールボスイズ、次、2% アンリスティレストリクトイルと2作、同じ操作弱でお送りいたします。解説ご応募、有識者のチャットをお待ちしております。正式名称はレガシー・オブ・ケイン、ソウルリーバーと、レガシー・オブ・ケイン、ソウルリーバー2。リマスター版ではこちらのタイトル2作同時収録されております。25周年記念で発売されたようです。Steam およびスイッチの説明の概要の方をちょっと見つけたんでお読みいたしましょうか。伝説の物語を体験せよ。かつての主人であるケインに裏切られ、処刑されてから数世紀、再び立ち上がり、復讐を果たすべく決意の旅へと乗り出そう。霊体の力を行使せよ。鍵詰め、念力エネルギーの稲妻、原始の霊体の剣で、かつてのヴァンパイア仲間を倒そう。敵の魂を貪り食い、さらに強くなれ。二つの世界を股にかけろ。エルダーゴッドにより授けられた能力を駆使し、精神界と物質界を行き来しよう。世界を切り替えて謎を解き明かし、新たな道を探り敵を倒せ。ちなみにスイッチ版現在セール中でして 30% オフで3072円で販売しております。レガシー・オブ・ケイン、タイトルから察するように、最初の先ほどメーカーの説明から察するに、ケインっていうのはおそらくラスボスかと思われます。ちなみに主人公の名前はラジエルだそうで、冒頭でケインに裏切られて殺される。で、長年の時を経て蘇って復讐行きましょうみたいな感じです。から始まるのかな。 あれよ、たまによくあるタイトルとして、個人名が載る名前だけど、そいつが主人公じゃありませんみたいな感じの。ちょうど今 BGM 流れている、ゼルダの伝説とかまさにそれですよね。って思ったけど、これ今流れてん多分、リンクの冒険だから載ってるか。ちなみに本作、レーティング審査セロでは Z18 歳以上なので、おそらく危険な表現っていうか、どっちかというと語話系の表現が含まれるそうなんで、視聴者の方、人によっては苦手な表現ございますのでお気をつけください。メーカーからの説明、おそらく語話、スチームかな、スチーム説明では語話はあるかも、語話ありますみたいな感じだったんで、おそらくちょっと気をつけていただければなと思います。
All right, everyone, it is my pleasure to introduce our very next runner, my good friend Jaxler, who's going to be running Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 2 Remastered, any percent unrestricted, which is a lot of words, but I'm going to let Jaxler say a whole bunch more words right now with this run.
画面来たな。
All right. Oh, am I coming through?
そうそのジャクターさん。
My name is Jaxler, and
で、神戸、先ほど SRC ちょっと覗かせていただいたんですけど、拝見させていただいたんですけど、自己ベ56分で本家庭 SRC 上で1位の方ですね。
You may be familiar. I actually did Frog Monster here earlier. We're doing another. You're stuck with me again for another hour or so.
もしかしてこの奏者の方、この作品なんかオリジナルグッズのシャツ着られてる方、着られてるかな、どう？
Alright, let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go!
はい、始まりました。グッドラックです。
Hello, everybody. If you have never... Oh, I have no game audio. Okay, now I have game audio. Awesome. So, sorry. If you've never seen this game before, this is a 3D action adventure made by Crystal Dynamics. They are the same people who made the Tomb Raider series. And this was made kind of, like, I want to say 1999
説明されてるんですが、本作 3D アクションゲームであることでやっております。
And we're really mad about that. So our goal is to go beat him up as well as the other 4 of our vampire brethren who also threw us in there. You don't actually, in a speedrun setting, need to do that in order to beat this game, but this is all bosses, so we are going to go do all 4 of those guys along the way. Not in the intended order. Now, while we're kind of in this cutscene, kind of introducing us to the world of Legacy of Kain, we're going to see a really wild glitch, pretty much right off the bat, called the time stop glitch.
めちゃくちゃ喋られてる、説明されてるってことは、おそらくこのオープニングスキップできないやつかと思われます。
And if you stand Raziel between or on top of one of these seams, and his idle animation will kind of drift left and right. And if you close a specific menu on the exact moment where he swaps from one side of the loading zone to the other, or one side of the seam to the other, it'll activate a glitch called time stop, which essentially allows us to run around while that menu is open. Normally you are frozen in place while that menu is open, and if I do it right, I'll be able to walk around with it. There's going to be a seam coming up that I'm going to attempt to do this glitch upon after I gain control here, and then I'll explain what I'm going to use this time stop glitch for in a second, but it is a frame perfect pause input.
で、操作できるようになりました。
But there's a seam right here. I'm going to sneak to get right in the right spot. There we go. Okay, we got a second try. So you're going to notice I'm walking around with this ring menu. This looks kind of messed up. Essentially what this does for us right now
なんか儀式っぽいことしてたような。
So essentially, I delayed a cutscene that's a tutorial about how warp gates work, so that it triggered at the same time that the actual warp gate activation sequence played. Essentially,
ジャンプ挟んで移動した方が早いんでしょうか。
So it saves about 8 seconds or so.
メニュー表示っぽい。なんかあるよね、メニュー表示。
And because we're playing on the original release of the game, there's no cutscene skip button for us, because this is a PC game from 1999. So we don't have anything cool like that to it. So in order to actually skip cutscenes, we need to use things like this time stop glitch to bypass them. And that'll come up a lot as well as we go a bit more through the tutorial. So instead of an actual vampire, we are more of a wraith, and we need to eat souls in order to refill our HP. So we're in the spectral realm right now where we need to go refill our soul meter here. What I'm going to do here is actually stand on top of it in a specific spot, so that instead of the actual like soul box spawning normally, it just kind of instantly goes into my HP bar.
リンゴの調整が頂点が少ない割に結構書き込まれてますよね、テクスチャー。
So there's normally only supposed to be 1 jump in this game, and I just got 2.
登れる。
Because of a really cool tech called the breakout glitch. Essentially, by crouching and then holding the 2 camera turn buttons, if I then press the circle menu, like that ring menu we were using to walk around earlier, it lets me walk around in first person mode. And then whenever I let go of the camera buttons, it'll animation cancel whatever I was doing before then. And so in that case, I actually animation canceled my jump into another jump. And so we'll be using that a lot all over the place.
これ鍵詰めかな、武器。
The slew out there were pretty nice to me. And then something you'll see here
む
with
し
the
ゃ
movement a
む
bit
しゃむ
as
しゃ
well
し
is I'm
て
trying to
強
avoid
化入り
ledge
まし
grabs just to avoid just the clambering animation. And then in general movement for the first part of this run, I'm jumping around everywhere. The jumping animation is and being airborne is going to be faster than our normal grounded movement speed. And now we're going to get introduced to transforming between spectral and physical. And so the actual geometry and shape of the world will change when we go from physical to spectral and vice versa. We just generally have to do this right now in order to advance kind of forward in the game. But in a moment, we're going to see another really funny application of the breakout glitch, which is called the door walk. So if you use the breakout glitch in order to sort of cancel the animation of the door opening, the door opens, but we have control over our character. So the door will open and we can just walk right through. And we'll see that in a little bit here as well. But while we're kind of like getting to that point and seeing some cutscenes, MD, if you have anything quickly you'd like to share now would be a pretty good time.
Sure, I got a few things to share. One is, sorry for getting the name and category completely wrong of this current run. That Soul Reaver 2 Remastered 80% bonus run is coming up right after this because it was met. Thank you all very much. But we do currently have a couple of things open for Chrono Trigger Jets of Time coming up later this evening.
触れたらダメージ受けそうな水面ですが、これどうやって飛び越すんだ。あ、だいぶジャンプ中の移動が距離が長い。あれ、例えるならスマブラのヨッシーのジャンプ中の横移動、あれぐらい。
ridiculous over the top series of boss fights. That is a $250 incentive. So far, we've raised $20. So if you want to see what is probably one of the most
ゾッキむしゃむしゃしてる。
definitely make sure you apply that
ゾ
donation.
ッキむしゃむしゃしてて、いちごジャム普通に書かれてます。
So right here, what we're going to do is a double crouch jump to get. Oh, hold on. That is not.
おっとなんかやってる。やってる。
That should get me over a trigger that starts those enemies' AI cycles, and then I'm going to be kind of crouching around
空中ジャンプ。
this crate. Essentially, we're going to do cutscene stacking again, but with the breakout glitch instead. So I'm going to get the breakout glitch here, sneak up here, and then do the breakout glitch next to the box,
ぐっしゃ。
pulling it up. This is going to crush the enemies instantly, killing them, which is really funny, as well as allow me to get this box into position while I'm waiting for this cutscene to end. So just kind of some more cutscene stacking. And then we're going to get the time stop glitch here again, but use it for a very different purpose. So we're going to get right
二段ジャンプ仕様なんでしょうか。それともなんか無を足場にして踏んでるような。あー出た、メニュー保持してる。別ゲーで見た光景じゃん。
And if I go to a specific spot and then try to pick up that box, I will.
あー髪の毛だ髪の毛。ああ。
I mentioned, thank you. I mentioned earlier that when you're in this time
ナ
stop
チュラル
state,
髪の毛したな。
cutscenes don't play, and there is a 2-minute long cutscene on the other side of that door. So by doing that teleflip and then loading the correct area, we skip that completely. And then I'm going to do another door glitch, so you'll kind of notice that the door is just opening and I'm running right into it. That's the door glitch right there, and this is going to allow us to get to our next warp gate here, which we will be using multiple times over the course of the run to kind of avoid some backtracking. Alright, so after we see this, again, we're jumping everywhere just because it's the fastest form of movement we got right now. We're going to be getting a optional upgrade later that's going to give us a bit of a faster way of getting around. I don't want to spoil it quite yet. So we're going to go ahead and open that door. And there's the door glitch again. So you do the breakout glitch and then open the door. And then you're just allowed to walk right through as it's opening. It's really bizarre. There's another cutscene right here, but you can do a glitch double jump and then glide.
ああ、そうだ、主人公は羽生えてるので一定時間は滑空できるようです。
door glitches, and then there's a fight skip I'm going to go for, where I need to do a double crouch jump coming up, and then glide at a very specific time in order to get out of bounds and go around the gate, hopefully allowing me to skip this fight here. So this might take me a try or two. It can be a little bit finicky sometimes. We'll see how it decides to be. So we're going to crouch to get right up on the edge. There we go. Okay, we got it first try. Nice. So this is going to get us around here, and then we go back and forth to load in the area. So something I haven't quite talked about yet is the way that loading
本
zones
作の
work.
キーパーソン
So
であるケインは元人間のヴァンパイアなんですが、
Otherwise, the next place you're trying to go to won't load in properly. So
自分じゃな
we
く
went out of
て
bounds there and we're able to
主人公のラジエルに翼が入ったってことで、はい許せねみたいな感じで
Wait, buddy, thank you. And he's just gonna
で
give
と
me the stare
処
down
刑した
right
そう
there.
です。
I was trying to do another door jump or door walk setup.
主人公のラジエルはケインに使える
Moving on, we're gonna do another door walk here, but for these metal rung doors,
側の
you can just phase right through
存在だ
them
ったんです
immediately.
が
I'm not
翼が入っちゃったってこと
sure why.
で翼授かっちゃったからこうなったみたいな
So I can do a double crouch jump to
か
get
と
up
思われます。
here, and then we open this so we can get to the next area. Now, certain cutscenes won't actually play in the spectral realm. So in a moment here, it's going to look kind of random, but I'm actually going to return back to the spectral realm. Partially, we lose HP gradually at this point in the material realm, so this is mostly to get an HP refill, but also to skip another cutscene. And so right here, I can do another breakout jump in order to get out of bounds here, and then avoid the door that you normally need to be in the physical realm to open by doing that. And I'm gonna turn around here. Whoa, I had a weird angle there. So just gonna fix that up. Double crouch jump into regular jump right there to get up and over another cutscene trigger. Basically, if you see me do some weird movement, I'm probably skipping a cutscene with it, you know. Another double crouch jump right here. We're gonna go ahead and grab another warp gate here. Another one of those weird metal grates. The metal grates are actually in a little bit able to go through in the spectral realm as well. I think that's might be why they're a little bit different, and I can just kind of phase through them. But this Melchiah warp gate is going to be really important later. We could go handle our first boss now if we really wanted to, but we're going to go get an optional upgrade that we're actually supposed to get after this boss. And so we need to go ahead and go into Spectral Realm early. This is just a setup for later. And by doing this double crouch jump, if you can think about like each of these sections as like a Zelda dungeon before a boss, we just skipped like half of the first dungeon just by doing that double crouch jump right there. But before we continue into the second half of the dungeon, this is actually where we're going to split off. I almost fell off there. With another series of breakout jumps to get ourselves out of bounds here. And
壁薄いな
even though it's not loaded, but we can go ahead and load it just like that. And we're supposed to have the ability to phase through metal grates there before we can actually access this hidden little secret area. But we want to be here early. Eventually they'll give me the soul. That would be really nice. And then we're just going to knock over these 3 pillars here, and this is going to activate the first of our glyph spells. So we're going to pick up the force glyph in just a moment here.
パズル要素あるみたい
In
で
a
すね
casual playthrough, it is by far the
答え
worst
が
of
分
those
かりや
spells.
すいで
It
すが
doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it's pretty cheap. But in the speedrunning setting, it is by far the most broken thing that we're going to get because of a glitch it's going to allow us to do that is exclusive to the original. So this game actually got a remaster, and I want to say December of 2024. And this is one of the only things that doesn't really translate into the remaster. It's pretty much exactly like faithful, outside of a couple of minor things, except for a glitch that we can do with this force glyph here. So I'm going to attempt to do a cutscene skip here. I didn't get it. If you pause on the frame that you picked this up, you can save and quit and take this with you without having to watch this cutscene, but that's totally fine. We're going to do the save and quit anyway because we're stuck here, and then we're going to make our way back to that Melchiah warp gate. So, MD, if you got anything you'd like to share with us, now would be a good time as well.
I sure do. We have a $10 donation from Eye of Newt, which says, "Come on, where's the love for best girl Luca?" And you know what? Just for you, Newt, I will give some love to our incredible, amazing inventor mechanic girl, Luca. Luca's awesome, and if you would like to add Luca to our party in addition to Frog, make sure you get your donations in for that.
移動しました。なんか
Alright,
新しいものを手に
we
入れ
got
た
this
感
new
じかな
spell, right? And you might be wondering, hey, what is this thing for? So normally it's to cast like this glyph magic thing, but instead we're going to animation cancel that spell to activate a speed up glitch, which I will explain how all the components work at this at some point over the course of this demonstration.
アイコンが増えてます。何をできるようにな
We're
る
gonna
か
get
なこれ。
moving real fast. So this is called the
なんかさっきより
This is
移動
maybe
が
one of my
早
favorite
い。
glitches in any game I've ever played, period.
ああ、そっか、空中ジャンプの。
Crouch jump and a couple of glide
いや、
impacts,
待って
we
よ
can。just start flying upwards. Because we're moving so
だいぶ
fast,
飛べますね。でも、これ仕様なのか。
so we go
飛べるのはなんか仕様な気がするんですけど、
because the animation's playing backwards.
仕様なのかバグかはわからん。
This is the second half of that.
いや、でも壁抜けしてんのは明らかに。
We almost missed that. That would have been dicey. So we're gonna
明らかに悪いことですが。
glide along the side of this, and we have just completely skipped the entire dungeon just like that. And there we go. Okay, so flight glitch. Wild, right? How does that work? So we use the breakout glitch to cancel the startup frames of actually casting the spell. It's gonna put you in this weird like purgatory state where it really wants to cast the spell, but it got interrupted. If you then take a step forward and open the ring menu, he'll start spinning up and trying to cast the spell. If you then close the ring menu again, it leaves you locked in this state where all of your animations are sped up very drastically. And this will persist until you like do certain things like enter the walk cycle for too long, or a crouch and walk for too long. A couple of different things will cancel it. Once you're in that sped up state, if you do a crouch jump, glide, and then do something called a wing pump at the right timing, the glide down animation, it will be given a negative speed. And so instead of gliding downward, it'll play backwards, which is going upwards. And you'll go really, really high with a negative animation speed. And so you can use that to get up really high, and then we can manipulate our flight speed in other ways once we're in that glitched state. And that's going to be the bulk of the movement that you're going to be seeing me do for the rest of the run. Although this is our first boss here. This is Melkaya. This is the intended first boss that you're supposed to fight in this game. And we want to get him done early because by getting his Metroidvania upgrade, we can go ahead and access the first Kane fight, which is going to be really, really important for later. So we can also do a little bit of a manipulation on this boss here by walking in a very specific pattern. I'm going to wait here for just a tad and then jump up here. This will hopefully manipulate him to be right in front of the door so that he walks right through and I don't have to wait around for him that much. And then after this first hit, I'm actually going to stand right next to him, so he's going to want to
背
try to
後に
attack
回り
but
て
that's
叩き
actually
たいですが、あ、
purpose, so he doesn't like walk into the chamber and
折り貫通したな。
which would otherwise be
上
really
が空いてる。
And then we're going to lure him through the center here again and crush him again. Once he makes his way over here. When he's ready. He's a little shy. There we go. And then so on this next phase, we're just going to go ahead and jump into the pit here. There's going to be this lever we need to throw, but we need to lure Melkaya in here first. And then we're going to turn him into a fruit smoothie, which is pretty awesome. You think I'm joking, but we got in there pretty quick. Okay, there we go. And there we go. That's our first of the four options. Well, not technically optional, but first of the four bosses that we need to do as per the name of the category taken care of. I will mention as well there will be a little bit of a flashing lights warning after every boss like goes Curseplode. It'll have this soul that comes out and imbues itself into Raziel. He'll absorb it. That soul kind of has a bright flashy light to it, so basically anytime I defeat a boss,
あ、なんか、あ、潰れる潰れるあ、そのために上が空いてる。あー、足ぐしゃーって。
delicious. And then we got a little bit of a flash
de
lights
geek
warning
ka
from
na.
here until you hear like the really spooky elder god talk in your head. MD, how are we doing on those incentives?
So right now,
そのための上
we have
空洞、
$20
上が空いて
out
い
of
た。
250 for that Aussie's Fort incentive, and we have until the runner
というわ
of
けで最
Chrono
初に
Trigger Randomizer reaches
そうした
go
ことで
mode
新
to
たな
meet that
力を得まし
incentive.
た。
Okay.
So it's not until
何
the
ができ
start
る
of
かな
next run. It will be until in the middle of that run, but we have no idea when the runner's going to get to go mode. So you will definitely want to make sure you apply that Aussie's Fort incentive to your donation if you'd like to see that fort added and see. It's absolutely hilarious. I don't want to say much more about the Aussie fight. And of course, we do have our character choice bid war as well. Frog is still in the lead, but if you would like to show more love to Luca, or maybe even have Magus and Frog in the same party, that would be funny too. You can feel free to apply that to your donation as well.
All right, so now that we're done with that boss, I really
で、ロー
don't
ドで移
want to
動
go
し
all the way
て、
back through the dungeon that we
次ど
didn't
こか
actually
な。
complete. I don't think there's actually a way back. So we're going to quit and reload, and this will always put us back at the bottom of the abyss here. And then we can take those warp points we got earlier and use them to fast track our way back. So I'm going to do another animation cancel here off of the turning back into the material
おそらく今の戻ってきた場所が何だろう。
because it's not really official.
マリオ
So
64でいうキーチ城とか、マリオサンシャインでいうドルピックタウンみたいな感じの
And the
入り口
setup, like, will actually
に感じ
persist after you
当たるような感じですね。そのためにロードで一回戻ってきたという感じですが。
My ability to fly because it's a lot faster. And then we'll cancel that animation here again. This cutscene as well, we skipped it earlier. We need to be in the spectral realm to prevent it from triggering again. And we also need to be in the spectral realm to use that new
それ引っ張れるの？あ、違う、すり抜けかこれ。壁抜けじゃないですね。エフェクトがあったあたり多分技の一環だと思います。すり抜け。あ、これは壁抜けです。
in order to do some glitch jumps here to get a bit out of bounds, and then the trigger that I below the next area is actually inside the door right here. So I need to be very careful with the way that I do that sequence. Otherwise, I will be stuck in an endless sea of and I would have to save and reload. That would be really unfun, right? So good thing I didn't do that. And then coming up here, we have what I like to call peak fiction, which is the Kane 1 fight. Now, the Kane fight itself is actually pretty like straightforward. There's not too much, like, I'll explain the fight once we get there, but I just want to give a huge shout out just to like the writing, the voice acting, and the storytelling in this game. I believe this game was written by Amy Hennig, who went on to work on a lot of other cool games, and I think there's a game she's working on right now actually. This game is just after this, thanks to your donations, also peak fiction, even more so. And this cutscene is also just really good, but it's also just like I get a little bit of a break too, which is really nice because like immediately after this fight, it is very, very, very difficult. A lot of movement and some new tricks that you haven't, well, a new trick that you haven't seen yet that I'll have to throw in there for good measure as well. But essentially, this is Raz coming out of the underworld and being like, bro, you threw me into the gamer dimension. That's unconscionable. Why would you do that? And he's like, bro, I don't care. I am just the god of the universe. I'm paraphrasing, even though they're exactly telling you what's going on right now. Talking over them like any good speedrunner would. To actually explain the fight that'll happen after this is pretty straightforward for both times we fight Kane in the run. He will always spawn the opposite of wherever Raziel is in the room. And so if we stand in the, like kind of this middle spot where we are during the cutscene, he will always spawn in the same spot, so I can hit him, run back to that spot, wait for him to teleport back in, and then he'll be in the same spot again. So I can just run around in an oval shape, smack him 3 times, and he's done. So in a moment here, we will actually have that fight coming up. So look around you, Raziel. See all of these polygons.
本作、ラジエルが日本語 CV だと檜山信之さん、ケインが中田ジョージさんなんですか。
This is just Also, the music in this game is also just fantastic, by the way. Like, I talked over it a little bit because on purpose, actually, because it will get us copyright flags. There's a track in particular I really, really love, and it'll probably come up again during the final boss sequence called Ozar Midrashim, I think is what it's called. One of my favorites.
時の勇者大人版と優越神父ですね。
It's like the music I put on when I like hype myself to get up and go and do like any like speedrun I have to do for a marathon. It's just like, which is kind of weird, but I don't know. Alright, here we go.
あ、消えた。
Turn around, he's gonna spawn right behind me.
後で会いましょうよみたいな感じ。あ、ワープしたのか。
Go backwards, forwards, poke, backwards, forwards, poke. And that's the boss.
腹パン。
Thank you. That was a lot of hard work, I know.
結局誰だったんだ。
And then we have another cutscene here. A bit of a flashing lights warning for a good chunk of this cutscene, I will say. There will be a spooky, like, ghost lady talking. Once you hear her talking, that's when, like, the flashing lights warning is over. But MD, you have, like, I want to say at least, like, a couple minutes here. So, honestly, I'm going to take a little break.
Nice. Make sure y'all take a break. Stay hydrated out there. And now it's just me here. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to video game music. Video game music is awesome. And if you like video game music, we are actually at a convention right now solely about video game music. And I think Jaxler might be taking a selfie here. That
ブービーが長いので。
Good. So anyway, Midwest Speedfest 2026 is taking place at VGM-Con Stitched Together. VGM-Con is an annual celebration in Minnesota that combines music performances with tournaments, indie games, panels, and a whole lot of fun. Its purpose is to create a community of
めっちゃリラックスしてます。いや、休憩長いな。やつが。 映像
The
長い
Speedfest
な。
team is grateful to once again be part of VGMCon and would like to thank them for providing resources and support to help us host our marathons since 2019.
おかえり
In
な
fact,
さ
I
い。
just ran down here from the boss stage where I was seeing some of my friends perform. VGMCon is amazing. Shout out to video game music.
When your strength is
フロアね。
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just so cool being around here and just like hearing, like, oh, there's just someone playing a flute and they're just walking by me and I'm like, oh, I need to get out of the way, but oh, they're playing a flute, so they might like T-bone me if I don't walk around them the right way. True story.
That's the VGMCon experience.
So the spooky lady's here now, so you can look back at the screen.
Body is needed for sleep.
And now that I'm sufficiently hydrated, we've got another trick coming up that is essentially the fusion of two tricks into one. So normally the flight glitch, you can't do it during time stop because you need to cast a spell. And the ring menu is kind of borked when you're doing time stop, right? But there's actually a way I figured out, I want to say almost a year ago now, that you can actually get the effects of both at the same time, where you can fly while being able to make sure cutscenes don't load in. And so what I'll be doing is essentially splitting the steps of triggering the speed glitch, where I get the animation cancel of
随分これマスターソードだね。
and then I get time stop. And then if you, whenever you're in time stop, you only cancel it by actually doing the breakout glitch inputs. So you can kind of press the ring menu whenever you want, and it won't mess with your time stop. So you can actually take the step during time stop, double press the ring menu, and you'll be able to get the super speed glitch and fly around while in time stop. Now, you only, like, if you mess up and like enter the walk animation for too long, it'll actually cancel it, and you only kind of get one super speed per fly stop, as what it's called. So you have to be pretty careful. But we're gonna go ahead and do a flight glitch here, and then this one kind of requires a bit of control here to get under that ceiling, just like that. And then this is where we get into fly stop here. So we're gonna walk through this door. He's gonna walk into this wall for swag, and then you saw me prime the speed glitch there, and then there's a seam right here where I need to get time stop. A little more. So whenever you see the ring menu flicker, that's where the seam is, and that's where I kind of need to know where the frame is. And the timing for that can actually kind of
めっ
depend
ちゃ飛びます
based
飛び
on,
ます。
you know, where your position is. So what we're going to be going for here is something called the Seraphan Tomb cutscene skit. This is a really long, like, lore sequence and like set of cutscenes, but this kind of like exit that's meant to like be a backtrack time saver has a little gap at the top of the fence. So if I do that, get into here, hope the game doesn't crash. It didn't crash. There we go. This will get us right into a mini boss here and skip the entire section just like that. All right, good. That can go wrong in a bunch of different ways. Sometimes if you do that, if you take too long to get through there, it'll just be, when you try to cancel out a time stop, it's just like, gone, crash. But the nice thing is we save a lot, so every time like you save, it'll, you know, keep all of your progress, like fights you've done, etc., etc. So because of that, like, you don't have to worry as much. All right, this mini boss low-key is harder than some of the actual bosses we have to fight, because he's a really souped-up, like, regular enemy, and I'm trying not to take damage. This Soul Reaver that we got, it's kind of like the Master Sword in Zelda, where it like manifests at full power and does a lot of damage, but the moment you
角が生えていますが、次のボスでしょ
and
う
we
か。
want to be able to do that to essentially like stab the guy in the heart with the Soul Reaver to insta-kill him after we stun him. So we're actually going to go for a strat where I try to, use the little bit of a ledge there in order to make him whiff, so we get the stab just like that, and we got the
強い。
damageless, which is really, really good. Okay, going pretty good so
Cut
far.
it.
Nothing like blowing up in my face, which is very, very exciting. This is
使ってるエフェクトでごまかされてますが、おそらく今のは赤い光はイチゴジャムかと思われます。
push blocks. This is very much a Zelda core or Metroidvania core type of game with like a lot of block puzzles and stuff like that. And it's also just a really good way of knocking back enemies as well. And it's just fun. Like, you get to shoot a Lucario Aura-sphere with the press of a button. It's awesome. And we're going to do that immediately here, actually. So we're going to go ahead and make use of it right
あ、
there.
すごい。
I missed.
飛び道具手に入れま
And
した
then
ね
I'm。gonna go ahead actually and go into the spectral realm early. Whenever you fall into water, it actually, and you're in the material realm. Okay, there we go. Sometimes the ring menu doesn't like to pull up there right away, and it's rude. So water kills you, right? But in the spectral realm, it doesn't. So it's a lot faster to just manually transition over to the spectral realm instead. And then right here, I'm going to do the breakout glitch so that I can start T-posing while I'm kind of heading into the spectral realm. And then normally you are kind of incentivized to kill those enemies. I'm going to try to speed through here without doing that. We got never punished for going fast. Awesome, awesome. And then we're going to do, and then you can, if you can hear me over me talking in the background, that's Ozar Midrashim. That's like by far my favorite song in this game. Just like the main chorus of it. It's like, it's just so good. It's so good. It also usually isn't playing right now, which is a little unusual, but
あやつで移動早くしてる感じか。
so we're gonna go ahead and open this as
あ、お、あー、より違う、飛び道
I'm gonna
具。
actually go ahead and save, just in case. So we're going to prime fly stop here, and I'm going to get on this seam. Not quite there.
あと儀式始まってます。
Okay.
メニュー保持か。
So then I'm going to be a little careful here. And there we go. So so imagine we just skip the water temple in Ocarina of Time. The very funny thing about that section too is even in like a glitchless or no major glitches run, it is so easy to get up to that ledge. We just did it with flight, and by doing it in the flight stop state, we actually skipped like, kind of like the dungeon overview cutscene, for lack of a better term. So we saved about 30 seconds doing it that way as well. And now we just have instant access to the boss as well. So MD question, I think this is your first time maybe seeing this game or maybe seeing a run of it.
Sure is.
What has been your reaction to any of this? Like, I'm sure you have like no context whatsoever, right?
I have no context whatsoever. I see normally during a speedrun, but this game actually does look really fun, I will say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, it's just like, because obviously it's that Crystal Dynamics DNA, right? But also like, it's just fun. Like, especially the first one just feels like, I feel like there's that category of game that are like Zelda games that aren't Zelda games.
ステージなんで、おそらく魚みたいな感じで思うか。
Right, they've got the vibe and kind of like the overall
いや、
progression.
魚ちゃう、人魚。
Not Zelda. They just got like that vibe to them.
Exactly, right? And I feel like the first game in specific is very much like that. The sequel to this game, Soul Reaver 2, a little bit less so, but that game is also just peak cinema.
人魚って魚人か？
It's like a great story and movie attached to a video game, which makes it even funnier when y'all get to see the incentive we're gonna do after this as well, because it's like, oh, this is the movie but with like a game kind of attached to it, and I'm gonna break it over my knee. No spoilers though.
ずいぶんまがまがしいゾーラ族ですが。
So this is Rahab. When we defeat him, he'll give us the ability to swim. It's worth beautiful face, by the way. It's worth noting as well that you're expected to beat the second boss Zephon to be able to climb up like walls in certain areas, but we can just fly. So it's just like, that's why it's really important to go ahead and do the first Kain fight early as well, because this fight is just on the way after Kain. So it's just really convenient from a routing standpoint. Get it all done in one go, and then we can quit and reload from later.
From what?
From ourselves. All right, and so this guy is weak to light, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for some quick scopes here on these right here, and then reset my camera so that
窓を割って光当ててギャーってやらせるんでしょうか？
just like that. And generally speaking, there we go. Generally speaking, whenever you're using the telekinesis, it has a faster like animation with the Soul Reaver versus with just the Eye of Agamotto. I don't know why I'm doing that, but
おそらく日光で弱い感じだね。
before you take that, you're gonna take a hit. So you get as many of those windows done as you can with the faster animation speed. But that was a pretty ideal fight, all things considered. So this is gonna be the
だけにうおーってか。
The next one coming up, Zephon, is going to be probably
というわけで撃破。
Zephon is probably the hardest movement section in the game, and then the boss after Duma is maybe the trickiest, like glitchier section of the game, if that makes sense. But we're gonna do another save and quit right after this. But something I haven't mentioned yet is that generally speaking with this flight glitch, the rule is like you can only really do it when you can cast spells, which means normally, like I said earlier, you're not supposed to be able to do it during time stop, and you're also not supposed to be able to do it in the spectral realm. We have discovered workarounds, is what I will say. So the original way that it was discovered that you can get flight in the spectral realm was before, so like I said earlier, before Rahab, if you fall into water, you get spectrified. You lose all your HP and go spectral. You could use, basically whenever you manually transform into the spectral realm, you kind of lose any prepped speed glitch storage that you have. But certain animations can bypass that. One of them is the drowning animation, and the other is walking through a warp gate from the material realm into the underworld. And so this will allow us to do a strat that is affectionately known as Spirit Airlines, where we go ahead and prep the flight glitch and then walk into the underworld, pitch a left, and then we get the flight glitch just like that. Now flying through here is actually really tough because the ceilings are really low, so it's actually pretty tough to navigate. You can turn the camera, but you move at such a high speed that it's like really tough. And then something I haven't really mentioned as well with the flight glitch that'll become really important in the Silence Cathedral, which is Zephon's lair. That's fine. So you saw that right there, I walked for a little bit too far long, and that canceled my... basically, after you walk for long enough, the game kind of realizes that, oh, the animation speeds are messed up, and it resets it back to its default value. Oh, and that's what happens sometimes. It's the loading trigger you're supposed to hit. This is totally fine. We are going to fly right here to get back over. So usually I like to fly through the hole in the gate to prevent that from happening. Then that's what can happen sometimes, especially if you're not careful with your use of flight. And there we go into the hole just like that. So, thank you. I will take that. That's like the only like weird thing that has happened so far, you know, knock on wood. Gonna do another one of those spectral cancels right there so that I can T-pose just a little bit faster. And so with the flight glitch, there's actually some like leniency and variability in how you time the individual inputs of like the crouch jump with respect to some of the glide inputs. And depending on how you do it, there's like multiple different like initial like height velocities that you can get, like Y velocities, right? So generally I categorize these into fast flights and slower flights with regards to their Y speed. So fast flights, as you might imagine, you go up really fast. So if you want to go up fast, that's really important. Sometimes you don't though. Sometimes you want to actually limit your upward speed so that's easier to control. Because if you have too much upward speed, you can either clip through ceilings sometimes, which is really bad, or you just can't, like you get stuck on the geometry of the ceiling and it becomes harder to navigate. So sometimes you'll limit your speed on purpose for that reason. But right here, for example, because my goal is to go up and skip this entire part of the dungeon, you want a higher upward speed, right? You want a faster flight, for lack of a better term. So for a lot of these sections in this dungeon, the Silence Cathedral, you're intended to create these air gusts in order to glide up here, but instead of an air gust, I can use breaking the code, and that'll be my way of getting up here. And we have a little bit of a sound bug here as well that can happen sometimes, so we'll see how that interacts with, got a bit of a tight corridor. Sometimes if you land on certain slopes, it can cancel like your flight. And then if you're not ready to react, sometimes, oh, you'll still be holding forward because it's like, oh, I'm still trying to fly around, right? And then one of the things that takes a lot of like practice to get really good at as you're getting better at this game is being able to sort of manage that, right? So we skipped about 2/3 of the dungeon. We're going to skip the last third by trying to go for what's called the hole in one, where you have to do a ton of puzzles to get all of the air vents to line up for that one right there. But there's kind of an awkward geometry pipe that you can sneak inside with a good enough flight glitch. Nice, we got the hole in one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, うまい。あ、お、いけるいける。スキップか。いいですね。
All right, and then here's what we're gonna do. We are going to safety save, just because I have like a weird thing going on with the audio right now that happens sometimes because this is a PC port of a 1999 game. So I'm saving just in case, because sometimes weirdness can happen. With all of that, we will be going for a save and quit later that would allow me to kind of restart the game and fix that. So hopefully I can get away with that later on. Actually, no, we don't do that anymore. That's right, because
手と口何個あんね。
evil things to do, Ma. I forgot. For lack of a
顔か
better.
と思ったらなんか中にもう一個顔がありましたみたいな。
I don't know. I've never timed that. It's probably slower.
どっちが本体だ
But just for the probably for the sake of the, I'm conflicted because this run is like good, right? Like I had that weirdness with the out of bounds where I missed the loading plane. So it's like on one hand I want to risk it because this run is good and I don't know if I'm on pace or not. But also like it makes the music kind of a little weird and sometimes the flight gets hard. So I have a little time to think on it though because we do have Zeph on here. This is the guy I talked about that we kind of bypassed earlier, the normal second boss of the game casually. And we wanted to come back here specifically with telekinesis because the game didn't ever expect you to have projectile attacks here. Normally the way his fight progresses is he'll swing at you with his claws from the ceiling and they'll get stuck on the ground and then you have to smack them. But with the projectile you can just hit him in advance and you don't have to wait for them to come down. So you can kind of run through all three of his phases really, really quickly because of it.
So it is matched
By my appetite. Step forward. Morsel. I will say as well, if you're interested in playing this game, like I said, there is a remaster that came out in 2024 for both this game and Soul Reaver 2. And for Soul Reaver 2 will actually be running on the remastered version because it is
腕こうして本体殴る感じがして
Oh, don't die. Okay, as long as you don't
Oh,
die. You're good. So he's gonna lay
Back down.
out like a zombie like vampire egg, and then we're gonna light it on fire, and then throw it at him, and that's how we deal our damage here.
こんなんでええんか
Barrel, like he's Donkey Kong. It's awesome. And because we got those claws out of the way already, he just is kind of instant ready with his eggs. And there we go. Yeet! I heard you. And that's boss number 3.
燃やせるものを
All right.
生み出せるのが悪い
Really solid Silence Cathedral overall. But the last like sections as the run go on and on just kind of get more and more difficult. Next up is kind of the Frozen Wastes with Duma's Fortress. And so for the longest time, we had a lot of trouble with trying to skip the dungeon overview cutscene in that area just because like the triggers got really weird and there are some conditions that can kind of cause you to be stuck in the time stop state in that specific area when you try to skip stuff. So it took like a lot of kind of work and engineering and brute forcing to make some stuff work. But now like we have ways in and out that are really, really cool. So hopefully I'll get to show those to y'all pretty quickly. They are pretty difficult to execute. So we're gonna start off here. We're actually, I have decided to play with fire a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on, but we will be making a save no matter what, because now that we have like the Zeph on progress, there's like really no there's no punishment for me here for going for that. It's just gonna, there's some weird audio engine stuff, so you can't really hear Raziel's footsteps as well, if that makes sense. It happens sometimes when you do movement in a very specific way in some specific spots. It's so bizarre. I don't quite get it. But we're gonna do some, a little bit of movement here. So, MD, you have time for a quick thing here if you have anything you'd like to share with us.
All right, well, we have a $25 donation from Zero Counts, who says, Jaxler is destroying this Legacy of Kain run. Who knew T-posting could be so cool? Donating to help meet that Aussie's Fort incentive because we got to see them bosses.
Thank you so much. All right, so coming
めっ
up,
ちゃ飛びます飛びます
after I get through this tunnel, I'm going to be going for a very the scene that I have to get time stop off of is really persnickety. So this
めっちゃ動くんで画面用ご注意
tries here, but we'll see. So now I gotta
メ
find
ニュー
this
保持の
first.
儀式を済ませて
Okay, we got it. And if the game's gonna crash anywhere, it's probably gonna be in Duma's Fortress when I try to cancel out a time stop here, but I'm playing really well, so I'm gonna kind of risk it for the biscuit a little bit, because, like I said, I'm kind of a little bit on a heater, but we'll see. It'll probably crash, but no, I'm joking. See, if I say it's gonna crash, then it won't crash. It's reverse psychology. And as you can see, we're just flying through here. I'll talk a little bit about wing pumping in a second. This is where it'll crash. If it does, it didn't crash, that's great. And so
すり抜けできそうな檻はあったけど、それはそれとして上が空いてるので飛んで
I went back and forth over a trigger and kind of canceled out of my speed glitch early, and that was intentional. It actually unloaded this blast door, which allowed me to skip like a bunch of puzzles in this dungeon here. Essentially, the way it works is we need to light the furnace up and blow it to smithereens to open the blast door so that we can lure Duma in here later and defeat him that way. Normally there's like a bunch of side pass and block puzzles that you have to do to take an alternate entrance to get in here. But we
Yeah, めっちゃ燃えてますやん。
like amazing camera angle of all time. It is so brutal. We're gonna go ahead and pre-ignite the engine here. And something you'll see here is sometimes when I'm like heading up or moving in midair with a flight glitch, I'm kind of like backing it up a little bit in reverse, and that's something called wing pumping. Whenever I press the button that, and yeah, you can see how fast I'm going with it. Every time you press that glide button while you're doing the flight glitch, you can stack speed more and more up to a certain limit. And so generally when you do that, you want higher vertical speed initial flies so that you have more opportunities to do those wing pumps. And then this is supposed to be a puzzle platforming area where you transform between spectral material, different platforms come in and out. But what if we just flew? What if you were supposed to platform, but Raziel said, whee! Alright, we're gonna do a little flight glitch here to get up and over here. This is gonna, oh, I went way past the side of this I'm supposed to. We're gonna push over the obelisk. This is gonna get us to the boss door. And this is kind of a new optimization that I started doing not too long ago, where so we're gonna do a double crouch. So we're gonna do the breakout glitch on this door. This is going to allow us to avoid the sort of like throne room cutscene that plays when you first get in here. We do a little bit of a flight. We're gonna keep our super speed because we need to pull these 3 stakes out of the boss to awaken him, and the animation for pulling them out is just a lot faster because all of your animations are sped up. You'll notice my falling speed is faster. All of any of Raziel's movements or abilities are tied to the animation system. They're not based in like physics, right? So if your animation speed is faster, your movement speed is faster, your fall speed is faster, your speed of pulling 2 stakes out of a giant vampire is a lot faster.
Thank you.
And so this boss is going to have probably the greatest like disparity between how simple it looks on camera and how much I have to consider and how difficult it is. So I need to play this cat and mouse game with Duma in order to get him back to that oven where smithereens. But if he's too close, he'll start walking slower. But if he's too far away, he'll do what I call the Doomfistle, charge up and try to shockwave slam the ground to stun me. We want to avoid both as much as possible, so I have to play this really tight dance of spacing to make sure that he doesn't do either as much as possible. So I'm actually going to ask for a little bit of focus time here while I kind of react to what he's giving me. And sometimes if you tap a camera button like that, that will happen. The camera will flip. So you're basically walking into the camera the whole time. And you have to be very careful with your camera movements and to not get him stuck on corners. You saw he slow walked there. Almost doom-fisted old there. Okay, he's being a little slow today, but that's okay. That corner in particular, that room with the knocked over obelisk is probably the worst section to get through, but...
そこ律儀に足で歩いてますね。
Very, very briefly tapping the crouch button in order to slow myself down just enough to keep him within that
流儀楽しいですよ。
space.
アグ技使わないっていうので。おそらくここしようかなって思うんですけど。
And if I see him do a slow run, I'll be even a little bit more careful because he can like bait you out super hard. Yeah, like right there, for example, he almost... So I'm actually gonna throw that at him because I need to do it anyway. And that can get him unstuck there. Usually this hallway's pretty good, but he was a little rude, but I think we're getting out of here with no Doomfist ults. Yeah, we are. Wow, that's awesome. So now we jump. He always does a Doomfist ult there, and we pull the lever, and that's the 4th boss. Awesome. That was really, really clean.
ああ、誘導してるからか。
Okay.
誘導する、そういうパターンもあるか。
we used to
誘
do a
導し
saving point
て、
out of here,
と、
but
バナ
I
ナ
see another
に
teleport
はまらせる
instead.
っていうかね。
This is a pretty tough strat. I have to get fly stop. Well,
ああ、火だ。
fly stop.
ああ、
Optimal way to do it
やっぱり
is
燃やすのが強いか。
So, what you're going to see me do is after this
直
cutscene
接
is done,
殴るより燃やした
basically
方が
Dumon's
強い
ability
感
is
じ。
called constrict. You can run a circle around certain things and it'll basically turn them. It does damage to enemies too, but
この
mostly
作品
it's
火
just
が
used for a
強
couple
い
of things in the endgame.
というよ
It's
り
very, very helpful.
敵が火に弱いっ
But
ていう感
we
じで
need
し
to
ょ
beat
うか。
bosses because it's all bosses, right? That being said, after we get this ability, we're going to turn around and trigger the flight glitch, and we're going to get to the end of that tunnel. And then there's going to be a seam I'm going to use on the edge of that tunnel between basically the tunnel load zone and the main room to get fly stop. And then I'm also going to do fly stop in such a way that when I trigger the flight glitch and the super speed, I'm standing next to a block, which is going to allow me to activate a teleflip in a sec as well. And we're also going to save here just in case, because I still have that audio engine bug. So we got our flight, and you're seeing me wing pump here in order to go super fast. Prime the flight glitch. This is the seam I have to use. Got it? Okay. So we have time stop, and then I take a step, get that, and then we're gonna cross this load zone, and then back over this one, and then hopefully we teleflip all the way back out through here, through like 3 different load zones, and then we have the flight glitch active thanks to
あ、
flight
データあ
stop.
りがとうござ
So
いま
now
す。
what we do is
現在
we
ジャ
go
パ
all
ニー
the
ズ
way
リスト
down
リームで
here,
はミッドウ
I
ェスト
cancel
ス
my
ピードフェ
super
スト
speed, I fall into
という
the
こ
water.
こにで日本語ミラー配信しており
This will
ます。
actually
現在、レガシー・オブ・ケイ
normally when
ン
you try to do that teleflip,
の
it
リ
will
マスターです
actually
ね。
like
ここから
make it so you can
現
never
在のタイト
cancel
ル
a
は
time stop ever.
1の方でオールボスカテゴリー
And
です。
so by going into the water
この
and
次
doing
に
the breakout
2も
push
披
there,
露さ
that
れる
allows
と
you to free yourself from that state and escape Dumas Fortress. So we got that really, really fast, which is awesome. And now we're gonna go
めっ
absolutely
ちゃ飛んでます。め
zooming
っ
through
ちゃ飛ん
here
でます。
because now we have everything that we need in order to go ahead and make our way to the final boss.
壁抜けも
which
普
is
通に
the
し
main
ます。
fight. And we have a really now we're
突
gonna
き
do
抜け
something
る
called telestab. So it's really
スキルはある
important
の
that we're
に
at
それを
full
それとし
HP
て
here
壁
for
抜けをし
basically the majority of this next section. And we are going to, you know what, well, I already saved. So we are going to set up fly stop here and then go for time stop on this scene. Got it. Okay. So that fly stop.
それリーバーの解説ご応募も
I'm going to stand
解
next to this
説
enemy.
いらっしゃらないのでご応募お待ちしております。次の2も含めて。
Similar to the teleflips, so that when I next press the
で、レガシー・オブ・ケインシ
button,
リーズ2つ終わった後のクロノトリガーも解説いらっしゃらないのでご応募お待ちしております。
and go to a very
一
specific
日には
spot.
残りこれ含めて3タイトルです。
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try that again. So we're gonna go right next to him. And then I need to go over specific load zones to correctly manipulate the coordinates that I get warped to when I do this. So we're gonna go ahead.
ここは表現と画面用ご注意ください。
Warp us in here.
ワープした
And then
な。
I'm going to go ahead and back up here. I'm going to stab and then pause a frame later.
本作セロ Z なので
Through this wall.
本当お気をつけください。
It's a little harder with this audio engine glitch, but that looks good.
おっと壁抜けもうちょいいけたいけた。おお拍手拍手。
It's really, really tough. And even if you get it, sometimes you get like different, depending on some micro spacing things, options there. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. This is going to change our telestab location so that we can do one right here. And after all of these, I'm jumping and then holding a specific direction so that instead of immediately falling after the telestab, I'm in midair for the duration of the animation. And that's going to be really important for this double telestab right here.
EST 的に次でラストでしょうか。
Boom, just like that. All right, so now we're gonna take a step forward and activate our flight glitch that we had saved up. This is gonna let us fly all the way past this room and avoid having to deal with it completely. I didn't want to fall that far down because what I want to do is set up fly stop one more time, but in order to do that, the seam is on this cliff. This setup is kind of cursed. Got it? Nice. Okay. And so I'm going to do a similar thing where I trigger fly stop right next to him, so that it saves the fact that I'm standing next to him, so I can do another telestab in just a bit. And now we're flying with hyperspeed. Do a quick telestab through here, and now because we're in here with the flight glitch and with time stop active, we can skip a bunch of cutscenes through here. So MD, this is probably the last time that we're going to have for any messages, so if you've got anything to share with us, now's the time.
I do have something. We have raised $50 out of $250 for that Aussie Castle incentive. So keep your donations in, because we only have another run and a half or so to get to that. And the donation that got us there is a $5 donation from our very own Sex Rex. First time viewer, yeah, sure, Sex Rex. First time viewer, long time donator. Has anyone ever actually seen Jaxler breathe?
That's a great question. I don't know if I've seen myself breathe, but I've never looked at myself in the mirror and like thought about the fact that, oh yeah, I'm breathing in this moment, right? You know what I mean? Like,
you are now conscious of your breathing.
Chat, you are now manually breathing.
さて到着。
Okay, so now we are in a giant cutscene. So also what I like to refer to as the Soul Reaver 2 opening cutscene, because they animated this whole sequence for the sequel, which is really dope.
はい、本作ラスボスケインです。
And it didn't crash at all, which is really, really sick. I was really worried that we might have a crash issue because of this audio engine stuff, but you're just gonna have to deal with the cursed audio. Sorry, I was on a heater. I felt.
主人公は一度こいつにやつに殺されました。
This is the final fight. So there's peak cinema happening here. I don't really want to spoil the story at all or kind of explain the whole like plot of the game to you, because I really think it's worth experiencing for yourself. So not only do you get like the remaster for 1 and 2, they also just remastered Defiance as well, which is like kind of the follow-up directly to this game, or to Soul Reaver 2. And people say Defiance is the best game in the series. And we just got a new game in the series too called Ascendance, which I need to play when I get back from this trip. All that to say, while we're kind of in this cutscene here, I want to do some shout-outs specific to this game and its community. I want to give a huge shout-outs to Victus and Tromboncino, who are 2 Italian runners who kind of helped me learn a lot of this stuff before it was as well as documented. Just because, you know, this version in particular, it got delisted off of Steam and GOG, so it's kind of hard to access these days. So they were super helpful in getting me started. I want to shout out Demented Salad, as well as just like anyone else who has ever kind of touched or worked on this game. I want to give a huge shout out to Crispy Taco as well, who's really good at the remastered version of this category that I just showed you, so huge shout outs to him. And also for just being a beast at kind of all of the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered related stuff. So huge shout outs to him as well. But this fight is going to work very similar to the first Kane fight, but a little more difficult. He's going to spawn, as long as I stay still, he's going to spawn in the same place every time, and it'll teleport me where I need to go. So it's going to be 3 hits, and then time will be on the final hit of that. We got a little bit here, so while I'm here as well, I guess I'll just plug myself. I'm Jaxler. I run this game. I ran Frog Monster earlier. I'll be doing Soul Reaver 2 Remaster in just a second. I love the weird stuff that's off the beaten path or doesn't get enough love. So if you're interested in underground speedrunning, I stream at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. I really want to get back to work on the 100% speedrun for this game. That is a really cool category. It's basically this run, but add 50 more minutes of movement. It's really, really cool. Maybe more like 40 minutes of movement. Because, again, I gotta improve that time, right? But yes, you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaxler1, and then I also blow my PBs on YouTube. That's Jaxler. I also do a podcast called Even Though Nobody Asked. You can find that on Spotify and YouTube. We actually just put out an episode today. Which a little cursed, but it's one of my favorite episodes we've done, so you should check that out too. After Midwest Speedfest, or you know, maybe after we finish Chrono Trigger, because we do get to go to sleep. I forgot about that. We get to do that now. And also shout out MD, for being on the host mic with me. I hope this has been not too overwhelming for you to witness.
Thanks, Jaxler. I did run down here from boss stage, and that was kind of overwhelming. But this has been fun. It's been chill. It's been cozy.
Oh yeah, it oscillates between, oh crap, so much is happening, and then, oh, peak fiction. I get to do a bit and take a nap on the floor, you know.
And now,
You will await my latest move as I stand still. So that's hit number 1, and then time will be on final hit. So he's gonna do this little animation where he
そろそろかな
sets the dial. I don't know what this means for this time device thing, because the time devices in Soul Reaver 2 look completely different. Is what it is. This one he's going to spawn on the other side. It's gonna be a little harder to tell.
いいラスボス戦始まりました。
That was hit number 2, and then hit number 3 will be time. And then this is that song I was talking about. That was just, oh, it's so good. It's just so good. All right, so get ready on time, y'all, because we will be coming up on that final hit very soon. And time.
お、倒しました。はい、グッドゲー。
34, that's really good. That's really good.
あ、レードありがとうございます。現在、ジャパニーズリストリームミッドフェストの予想をお送りしております。ただいま今、リガシオブケインソウルリーバー、オールボスシーズが終わったところです。
But yeah, that was Soul Reaver 1 OG, all the bosses done in 58 minutes and 34 seconds. I'm really happy with that. That is an extremely good time. I already did my shoutouts, so we are going to go ahead and take a quick break so I can get Soul Reaver 2's shout out because y'all were so dang generous. Thank you all again for that, and I will see you all in a few moments.
押したけど逃げられちゃいましたね。というわけで、画面戻ったんで、一回失礼しますね。この次も同じ走者で次2のリマスターのが走られるようです。で、一回失礼します。